Assessment plays an important role in the integrated Montessori CKLA scope and sequence. First, let's discuss the different kinds of assessment. Diagnostic assessments are used to determine what instruction children need. So it occurs before instruction happens, or when we just need more information. We have a struggling child and we're just not quite sure what's going on with them. Some examples of diagnostic assessments are phonics diagnostics that determine what skills an intervention teacher will target. Formative assessments measure progress toward mastery of skills that have been taught, which is oftentimes based on a curriculum. These occur shortly after instruction because we want to see how well children have learned the material that they've been presented with. An example might be assessments that measure the phonics skills that students have practiced over the last 2 weeks. Summative assessments measure a large amount of content that students have learned over a longer period of time, such as an entire semester or entire school year. Some examples are CMAS or college final exams. These are large assessments and they don't really inform instruction. They're used for other purposes. Our primary form of assessment in Montessori is observation. We use observation in both diagnostic and formative situations. We carefully observe children to know when they are showing readiness to learn a new skill. Or if a child is struggling, we observe them carefully to understand the root cause of the difficulty. We use formative assessment by observing children after we've presented a lesson to understand how well they are applying their new knowledge. Observation is an amazing assessment tool that we have as Montessorians, and it offers depth and context that formal assessments don't. But observation can also be subjective. I like to think about the assessments in CKLA as tools that allow us to observe and assess children in a different way. The assessments in CKLA can be used in tandem with observations of your Montessori environment to gain information about children's progress and inform our next steps with them. Within the integrated scope and sequence, our goal is to create a system of assessment that is aligned with Montessori philosophy and pedagogy, which recognizes that children develop and learn at various rates. When we observe in our Montessori environments, we are trying to learn what each student needs next. The assessments in the integrated scope and sequence have the same goal. Perhaps some of us associate assessments with receiving grades or criticism from our own educational experience. One of the many things we love about Montessori is that our children don't have to endure those negative experiences. In the context of the integrated scope and sequence, we are using assessments to better understand what the child has mastered and what they are ready for next, not to give grades or judge children. In the integrated scope and sequence, the CKLA assessments are broken down into parts to make them more manageable and relevant to the skills children have been learning. Children take each assessment after they have demonstrated independence with that set of skills. We are using the assessments to confirm our observations that children have mastered these skills. It is important in the CKLA scope and sequence that we don't give children an assessment until we are reasonably sure they will be successful with it. Therefore, not all children will be taking the same assessment at the same time. For example, in a traditional classroom, all second graders would take the Skills Unit 2 assessment around the end of October, whether or not every student had mastered the skills in Unit 2. In a Montessori classroom, children will take the second grade Unit 2 assessment when they have demonstrated mastery of those skills, whether that is in April of their first grade year or December of their second grade year. This makes them true formative assessments. Assessments in CKLA occur most commonly in the phonics strand. So at the end of almost every phonics set, you will see a proof of mastery section. In this section, you will find the name of the assessment and where to find it in both the student activity book and the teacher's guide. It is important to carefully read the assessment administration directions in the teacher's guide. The student-facing assessment pages are in the student activity book. You will want to ensure that children do not accidentally complete the assessment pages while they are working on other pages in the activity books. Also in the Proof of Mastery section is a place to record the child's score. We have also indicated what score demonstrates mastery. For example, in this proof of mastery section from Phonics Set 2.1, there are two parts of the assessment, and children must get 8 out of 10 correct on the first part and 7 out of 9 correct on the second part. There is also a note about where to go next if the child demonstrates mastery. If the child does not show mastery on the assessment, they simply continue practicing the skills within that phonics set and take the assessment again when they have solid command of the material. In the spreadsheet version, the proof of mastery columns are colored orange. This is to remind us to pause and assess before moving on. The spreadsheet contains the same information as the paper-based version, but it allows us to see multiple children's progress. The cells in the spreadsheet will automatically color code based on the student's score. Green means that they have demonstrated mastery, and they are ready to move on to the next set. As we can see here, the teacher observed that all of these children had demonstrated independence with these skills, so the teacher administered the proof of mastery assessments. In this case, children could demonstrate mastery on either one of these assessments. We can see that all of the students except student E are ready to move on to the next set. Student E still needs more practice in this set. There are assessments in other strands of the scope and sequence as well, and they are formatted the same way as in the phonics strand. However, CKLA does not consistently assess students' mastery of tricky words. So we have provided lists of words from each grade level that can be used to assess children's mastery of puzzle words. The set is also noted for each group of words. We recommend using the Blevins assessment to measure students' progress with phonemic awareness skills because CKLA does not include comprehensive phonological awareness assessments. The Blevins is available for free online and is linked in the assessment section of the online course. The Blevins is broken into 12 short sections or tasks, and each section isolates a particular phonemic awareness skill. The Blevins is administered one-on-one to individual children, but each section is short, so it can be done fairly quickly.